The Cuban Missile Crisis was a 13-day standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union in October of 1962. This event can be described as one of the closest moments in history in which nuclear war could have occurred. This moment would also be at the height of the Cold War. The crisis began when a U.S. U-2 spy plane flew over San Cristobal, Cuba, for surveillance and discovered that a nuclear launch site was being constructed. President John F. Kennedy was alerted about the situation and created a task force on what to do in the situation at hand. After meetings and phone calls with top advisors and former Presidents Hoover, Truman, and Eisenhower, President Kennedy announced to United States citizens the situation and called for a naval blockade of the island of Cuba. After President Kennedy's announcement of a blockade over Cuba, he writes to the Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev asking him to stop all Soviet ships that are currently headed to Cuba. Negotiations would proceed between the United States and the USSR over the removal of the missiles in secret. In the evening of October 28, 1962, an agreement between the United States and the USSR is made. The USSR will remove all nuclear missiles and dismantle the launch pad in Cuba, while the U.S. will promise not to invade Cuba. An additional agreement is made by Attorney General Robert Kennedy and the ambassador of the USSR that the U.S. will also dismantle its obsolete Jupiter missiles located in Turkey. Following this agreement, both the USSR and the U.S. announced the compromise made, and the world can finally exhale in relief.